And we are live, and just like that, oh my goodness, I see some familiar faces. Happy to see you all on this Wednesday night. Let's just get started. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Stevie V. Newlywed here alongside. We are back in business. I feel like we haven't done this show together. Kodi,
I
Maurice, Doggette.
know.
How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I am here healing from my non-elective surgery.
Yeah.
But I'm doing all right. I'm doing better than I was 2 days ago. So, yeah.
Okay, good, good. Yes,
Yes.
because you did the show a couple weeks ago with Teddy. Then you
Yep.
were off. I did the show with Teddy when
Yep.
I was in Puerto Vallarta, and now we were back. I'm back in New York. It's just a whole mix up here, but
We
we love
just
it.
all over the place. But we love it. We're doing good.
We love it. And when it just goes to show you, the show keeps going one way or another. And tonight is no different. I mentioned it's episode 713. Let's get right into sex talk because we have a lot to dissect here. And what we are talking about today, I think, is going to be really good because we're basically talking about slut shaming and all of the things that really go along with that. We're going to break it all down for you on this episode. We are talking about something that's sacred. There is something sacred about being a slut, and I mean that seriously. Somewhere along the way, we let the word slut become an insult, especially in our particular culture, gay culture, where we're told to be liberated, but not too much. And today we wanted to talk about reclaiming that word, slut. What if your pleasure is actually your power and your openness is a spiritual practice? Think about that. That's a whole thing. Let's
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about what it means to be a conscious slut. Not reckless, not shameful, but intentional, radiant, and connected through desire. And Kodi, we've been talking a lot about connected sex, about tantra sex, about the many facets of it. But with that, let's flip it around to reclaiming what it
Put my
means
thing
to
down, flip
be.
it, and reverse it.
Yeah, Missy Elliott, I love it.
Yes.
And we want some of you to weigh in throughout this talk as well, because some of you are live as well. By the way, the conversation keeps going over on our Tags Patreon community. We'll give that handle in a little bit. But what are we talking about when we're talking about the idea of slut? Where did it historically actually come from, as we were talking about in our meeting? And then how did it become into our gay culture? Well, in our meeting, we were talking about the word slut seems to always be associated for years and years for women. Am I right about that? Do you
I would
agree?
say I would say it's more prevalent when it's used against women, definitely. But it's crept into the gay community as far as describing how gay men operate when they are being a little bit promiscuous, for sure.
And over the years, there's been really great books like The Ethical Slut that I have it looking up at my bookcase over there, reference that book. But women have always got that term thrown at them, where men, I feel like it was almost a badge of honor. The younger you were, I can remember as a teenager to hear my heterosexual friends back in the day that if they got with this girl or they got with that one, it was just this badge of honor. Dads even seemed to almost pat you on the back if you had a higher number and you were getting it, where girls were always, of course, slut shamed. I'm using air quotes, but I really feel that's where it came from. And then if you move into the history of our culture, well, we were always noted for being cruising. Where did cruising even come from? Well, cruising came from because we couldn't really have sex out in the open. We couldn't do it. We were shamed for even being gay, and that's where there's all these great movies that are out, like The Celluloid Closet, which talks about Hollywood, where Rock Hudson and major
Yeah.
actors like that had to really hide it. And then there was all those stories of underground clubs or cruising that we really flipped it and reversed it, to use your terminology, to make it real for us. And that's why cruising became such a gay thing, because it started out as something that we had to hide, but then we figured it's actually kind of hot. And then if you move into today, there's things like Sniffies that embraces the art of cruising today. And so I think we've had a history of hiding our sexuality with Stonewall. It was not until 1969 until we actually were liberated to be free. And a lot
Mhm.
of it had to do with our sexuality. And we put it out there on Center Street, as you will, and we reclaimed it in many ways. The 70s was the liberation movement in general. But of course, for our purposes, we were out there really living it up. Then we got hit, Kodi, with HIV,
The AIDS
AIDS,
epidemic, yeah.
which set us back. And then there was a whole discourse back in the day where it was the leather community that was really responsible for it. And the other side of the gays, I remember this in San Francisco, that looked down on the leather community. And all those bars on Folsom Street, if you know that area, which were compounded with leather bars, the Harvey Milk team of the people really didn't like that side and
Oh, really?
blamed a lot. Yeah, and it was really not really cool back in those periods. So
It's cool
let's
now.
bring it. Yeah. So I think that's kind of our history of
Yeah.
Slut. Then if you move into today, and then we'll open up this conversation. We want to hear from you as well. Now, with things like PrEP, and we have things like, we're about to celebrate World AIDS Day, and we're going to do a couple stories in this episode where you can go on Grindr now, and they're giving out kits to test yourself just by being on the app. And
Mhm.
there's a drag queen in the UK that's on the current Drag Race, and she's advocating like it's not a big deal. It's like a pill you take like for a headache, basically, is her thing. And you can live openly with HIV and AIDS. And there's Doxypep. So if you have a fun weekend, you can actually
Prevent.
prevent perhaps getting syphilis and other STIs. And so now we are in a place where you can really embrace it. We've done shows recently, like I said, where we're getting deeper into what we really want sexually, what we are looking for on a deeper level. And so with that, I open up the conversation and bring you
Okay.
into
Ready?
where are you at? Let's just bring you into it personally, because you have been telling us on the last several episodes since
Yeah.
your breakup that you've been having a lot of fun. You don't want a relationship. Would you call your time in the last several months that you've been having quote unquote slutty, embracing your slutty side of yourself? Or how would you
No.
describe it?
I would describe it as, and you know what, some people might describe it as that, but I personally describe it as exploring sexually and being open to different situations and really learning about myself and how I feel about myself. And like, I think we're going to get into this probably, but it's also like self-validating. It is building up self-esteem, and I just think that it's something that every person should do for themselves. And I didn't do it earlier in my 20s, but now I'm discovering more about myself, more about my sexuality, and just more about who I am as a whole. So I really highly recommend it.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. That, I mean, it's funny because a little later we're going to do a little advice thing where somebody was asking the question, if you had to ask yourself what you would do differently in your 30s, and we'll answer that question a little bit more. Or maybe we can
Well,
answer it kind of right now,
yeah.
as opposed to now. What would you tell your former self in your 30s? I'm in my 50s now. You're in your 40s, but what would you do? I was living a pretty open out life. However, the confidence, Kodi, that I have now as opposed to when I was in my 30s is totally different. I'm so much more confident and set and grounded and more in control of, not in control, that's a bad word, more open to what I want sexually. And at the time in my 30s, I think I've said on the show before, I just I let people dictate that I was always going to be the bottom in any sexual encounter,
Mm.
any relationship that I ever had, where now I'm so much open to versatility. And all kinds of my time in BDSM culture has really expanded what I want to be in my sexual sessions. And so I think that's what I would tell myself, be more open, be more confident, because it gets so much better
Yeah.
as if you when you start to break down those walls. And I think that has to do a little bit
Hey.
about sluttiness, and maybe that's a bad word, but we've been talking about words for the last couple of weeks. The term faggot, which now we have reclaimed, the word queer, which some people use, but other people find offensive. But reclaim them all. I
Yeah.
think I reclaim my time.
Reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. Well, I probably answer differently when if we do get to that Reddit, but right now I'm gonna speak about like sexuality and things of that nature because that's what we're on. I feel like for me in my 20s, even though I was still having fun, it was not as much fun as I could have had. Number one, so I would tell myself to have more fun, but also every hookup, every person that you meet in the club, uh, this is what I'm on now, is not going to be a relationship. I think I tried to make everybody that every hoe into a housewife when I was younger, and now I know for sure not every hoe is a housewife. So, some hoe might be a housewife out there for me, but as it stands right now, that's not the case, and I understand that. And moving forward, I think that I am going to be more discerning about who and what I put my time into, basically.
Yeah, and if we could move the conversation to being a conscious slut, if we were to think
Yes.
about a time where maybe you felt free after sex, as opposed to, uh-oh, that didn't feel good, right? And that
Mm.
not feeling good can come in different capacities, right? It could be that maybe you've been having a lot of that kind of sex and it's not connected and it's leaving you feel empty, or maybe you did something that now you have to take Doxypep, or you did something, or you had, I don't know. There could be a million different reasons.
Yeah,
And then you turn it into a conscious slut, being a slut with intention, where
yeah,
you turn, say, your desires into a mindfulness practice. That I think is possible, where there's periods of your time. It sounds like you've kind of been in that period yourself. I've been in that period myself too, where I have known what I was doing and I enjoyed it. And I I was thinking about a recent time where I was performing sex on a stage, and
mhm.
it
Ooh,
was really
hey.
a performance to start off with, but it was for an audience, but it was so satisfying, and I was able to get into it. It was a performative slut, if you will.
I love
I've done
it.
that, though, when I've done my not suitable for work, say, for OnlyFans Just for Fans, where I knew the cameras were on me. I knew there was a cameraman filming me, and I knew it was for going to go up on my website, right?
For
And hopefully
public
make me
consumption.
for public
Yeah,
consumption and make me money. But I also hopefully, I picked partners that I enjoyed being with, and I got into it because I'm a firm believer that you need to also, like an acting scene, you have to get into it for that to
chemistry is
relate
key.
to chemistry. Yeah. But I enjoyed it too, and I walked away from it, that was really hot. There's a funny thing though with performative sluttiness that I just made up, that
I love
it
it.
is,
Coin
you
it.
can get
Put it on a
into the
t-shirt.
moment. Yeah, you can get into performative slut, that you can get into it as a performer, but that it is what it is. That, in other words, with some of the people that I've connected with, either for my OnlyFans or recently, it was what it was, and afterwards, I just went and kikied, like we were girlfriends later. Another one, it was just like, "That was thank you so much," and I walked away, but we were so connected at the moment, but that's what it was. It wasn't, I didn't take away any, like, feelings for it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Performative
it
slut.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there, and honestly, you said that you feel like I have been on a conscious slut, and I feel like for
Well,
me,
I'm
I
sorry if I put those words.
no, and
Yeah.
I'm here to set not set the record straight, but kind of like elaborate on it right now. I feel like directly after my breakup, it was kind of dangerously close to being n- uh, like kind of self-depreciating a little bit and really not good for my mental health, but I didn't cross that boundary. But I could tell I was dancing that line because I wasn't doing anything that I didn't necessarily want to do, but I could tell that I was doing it uh to kind of numb some of the pain, and that's okay, and in moderation.
Yeah.
I think that as long as you are doing the things that you need to in order to take care of yourself and your mental state, then uh you know what, go for it. And I feel like my therapist would say the same thing to me. So
Well,
but
listen,
now I'm in my
the word
conscious
conscious,
area
but
area
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I know that I'm doing things with connection, even if it's just for one like an hour worth of connection. It's I'm doing it with connection in mind, because that for me that stuff gets old. And I feel like if you go and you have an engagement with somebody, you have sex with somebody, and then you you leave feeling a little bit empty, then it's not really worth it, if in my personal opinion. So yeah.
We mentioned we are live and joining in the conversation. First of all, hello, James K,
Hi,
because there's 2
James.
James that put it in the comment, and
Okay.
hello, James H. Hello, Poppy. Adrian watching us live says, I think it's the same thing with the word hoe. As far as I'm concerned, as long as you are being responsible and everything is consensual and legal, more power to you. Let's be clear, everyone in this world has a slut hoe moment. And FYI, slut hoe moments don't have to include sex. Oh, that's really interesting. You're right. They don't have to include sex. You can, do you agree with that? They don't have to include sex?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like as long as you're doing the things that you need to do in order to make sure that you're being safe and a conscious slut, then I think it's okay.
Absolutely. Okay, well, moving on to the slut spectrum. I mean, we all have different relationships to pleasure, from monogamous explorers to open-minded to open relationships to solo play. There's different versions of a slut, where let's all talk about this a little bit more. There's things like the tender slut, emotional connection first. There's the curious slut, where you're adventurous and experimental. So think of the cruising stories that we were talking about. There's the sacred slut, where you're intentional, spiritual approach, where we've been talking a lot about this, Kodi, with Tantra and working with your partner on really deeper sex. And then there's the healing slut, reclaiming body and worth after trauma or shame.
Oh,
What
there it is.
yeah,
That's what I was just describing.
it is exactly what you that's
That's so
the
funny.
healing slut, I think
I was a
is
healing slut. Yeah.
yeah, and I would say that in as a newlywed, married, I am in the tender slut era right now. Sometimes the curious slut with Diego as well, because we will be out and about sometimes at the New York Eagle and find a third, and it's fun and it's curious. And we found him in the dark room and invite him over. But also, we have very tender, touching, connected sex, but then we also get dirty at the same time as well. And I won't tell you some of the things that he says to me in
I think
bed,
we should. I think you should.
but yeah, but we
I
go
think he
there.
should. I think he
I think
should get on
he
camera
should.
and
Uh-oh, he's
say,
looking over at me, and I don't know. But
"Hi,
there are
Diego."
things no, right, uh-oh. But yeah, I think you can have different phases of that. I mean, as George Michael said, "Sex is natural, sex is good."
Amen.
So
But then he
and
says sex is best when it's one on one, and I don't know if I agree with that.
I think I'm a one-on-one, but it could be in a
It's good.
one-on-one in a room full of other people, but
All sex is good.
all sex is really
If both partners
good.
are consenting, yes.
Absolutely. Well, okay, and then moving on to let's just reflect a little bit on pleasure. um, how self pleasure or partnered sex can be meditative or a spiritual act.
Ooh.
And we all know that I don't know that that's really slutty because we've been talking a lot about that self pleasure or partnered sex. Let's just take the one example that I've learned about, which is the mirror exercise that Will Tantra of tantricfitness.com and my friend Finn Deerhart talks a lot about where you take a mirror and it's a date night for yourself and you really explore your body. You could light candles, you could put on really good music. And it's really an exploratory process of getting involved with your own body, not
Mm,
just your genitalia, and actually taking like an hour or more to really explore what parts of your body are sensitive, and you're looking at yourself in your mirror, so you're getting turned on in some ways. You could use the word slutty ways. Turning I think getting in touch with your body can be a really enriching process, and it can also turn on your slutty side to your own self, which I think is really good. This is a really good, I mean, have you ever done that?
So I was just thinking that, "Oh, I need to do this," but I feel like the closest I've ever come to it was being on, like, Dude's Nude or anything like that,
Oh
where you
yeah, well, that's a
do
good
the
one.
I always end up looking at myself a whole lot, so
Yes.
but even though other people are, like, looking at me too, but I feel like I end up looking at myself a lot, and it's very it's a good time, I can say
Let's
that
break that
much.
one down too, because I've
Okay.
done the same thing with Dudes Nude too, where you wanna make sure because you can see
You can
yourself
see yourself.
and you wanna put out your best self out
Oh, yeah.
there,
You
but in
wanna
the
give a good show.
process, you're turning yourself on, so hopefully you turn other people on, and I've done that process. For those of you that don't know, Dudes Nude, you can go on there, you can create a profile, you can just watch cam boys on there
Mhm.
do their own thing. But then you can also turn your own camera on as well and put on a show. And I found that you can kind of tap into your slutty side to because people will come into you and they can do one-on-ones with you or they can say, "Oh, it's looking really good over there." And you can take notes from them. I find it really like a, I love the process of it
It's
all.
very erotic.
And
It does a lot for your ego. I think it's something like, you get to see yourself, and I think that in and of itself is you get to see how your body moves and how, uh, you get to see directly how other people are reacting to you, and I think it's instantaneous, and it it's a good thing. It definitely gets me going.
it's one of my favorite sites too because I find it a safe experience because you can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can be a voyeur, you can be put yourself out
An
there.
exhibitionist,
Exhibit
yes.
there's couples that go on there too,
Oh,
which is
I
kind
love it
of
when that happens.
cool. I think it's a real if you haven't tried it, look into it, and like I said, you can always go on there and just be a voyeur and look. You don't have to really, you know, put yourself out there yet, but if you're feeling it, get that lighting right, 'cause and
Ah, yeah, you know how we do.
Yes,
We have to make
exactly.
sure and, like, I get, like, a sexy mood lighting. I don't do, like, the camera lighting where like, when we're on here, I get, like, a
Yeah.
little moonlight with a little bit of maybe a ring light facing the opposite direction on low, just so you can see the full fantasy, but it's, like, a little bit of shadow, so I get very into it. I think that it's a very, not even like kind of like a religious experience, honestly. I
It
think that
is kinda like a religious
it
experience in
really,
many
really
ways,
is.
right?
Because it's like,
Yeah.
what is it? You're worshiping yourself and you're having other people worship you. So I think that it kind of is, honestly.
Well, and we wanna hear from you. What does being a slut look to you? Where are you on the spectrum of what we've been talking about? I mean, your sexuality isn't something to control, it's something to worship. You don't owe anyone purity, but you do owe yourself to be present, and we wanna hear from you. We also have a poll question too, Kodi. What is our poll question?
Our poll question is, Poll is visible. Have you ever been slut shamed? And the two options are yes, it's prevalent in the community, or no, I've never had the experience. So feel free to vote now.
And we'll continue this voting over on our Tags Patreon community. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast if you're listening to this when this show drops on Thursday and all week long. And let us know on tonight's show. We'll read some of the poll results throughout the hour. Speaking of polls, last week we asked the question. We had a couple of polls. We'll read the first one. The poll question number one had to do with, are you more so the reason we were talking about Teddy last week was he lives in LA, I'm in New York, and we did New York versus LA gay boys, right?
Yeah.
And you were just in LA, but you're a New York boy.
Yeah.
After spending some time, where do you weigh in on this?
Which ones are better?
Which are you more, a New York gay or an
Oh,
LA boy?
I am definitely a New York gay all the way. I was out in LA for a bit and it's fun and it's a good experience, but I could not, I don't think I could live there. Maybe I could, but I think that it's a little bit further down the road for me because I love New York. I just love the city. I even love the smells in the summertime.
I
So
know.
I know, right? When you love that, that's when you really love a place because sometimes it's a little rank and rancid. So
Yeah.
but I love the city. I love the vibrancy of the city and how it's just electric. So I'm definitely a New York guy.
Well, the results came in. Are you more of an LA gay or a New York boy? And 57% of you said you're New York all the way. Well,
Ooh.
43, yeah. Um, Whopping 0% said not LA, and 43% said neither. And I know Diego said he was neither on that one. So, yeah. Okay, got it.
So nobody said they were LA guys?
No, I think some people said on last week's episode, a few of you,
Okay.
but it
Oh,
really
girl.
wasn't that much. I
LA is
know.
lovely, though. I was there. I had a good time.
I love it. Doug
The
watching
guys are
us
hot.
live says, still a Pennsylvania rural gay. I love that. Absolutely.
Love
Yeah.
it.
We were doing kind of an East Coast, West Coast thing. So there you go.
There it
All right.
is.
Well, it's time to get into, let's continue this conversation though on ethical slut or just slutty behavior over on our Tags Patreon community, because I think it's a good one. And we want
Definitely.
to hear from you on that. Let's get into hot topics. And remember, we were talking about Tish Hyman, the singer in LA who works out at the WeHo Golds on La Cienega
Hmm.
Boulevard. She is lesbian, if you didn't recall this story, and she had a problem because she was claiming that there were men coming into the Golds locker room. Well, and she was not having it. And I mentioned she's lesbian. Well, now she is continuing her conversation because she went to San Francisco to visit State Senator Scott Wiener over her viral run-in with the trans women in a women's locker room in LA that got her booted from the Gold's Gym entirely. And things got so tense, she ended up storming out Tuesday night. She
Wow.
declares her stance is not rooted in homophobia, reminding everyone she's a lesbian as she grilled Wiener,
But what
who's
about transphobia, sis?
thank you. Who's gay and running for Nancy Pelosi's seat at a San Francisco forum, wanting to know how he plans to protect women's safety in the wake of her experience. Weiner said women's safety matters across the board, including the safety of trans women, pointing out they're brutalized nationwide at an alarming rate and deserve protection too. And with the crowd pushing back at Hyman as she firmly denied trans women are actually women, because she did, I heard her, she brought up her encounter with a trans woman identified as Alexis Black and a viral locker room incident and reference Black's criminal past, claiming he broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. We don't have any evidence that that's true. I don't know where that stands, but where do you stand on this, on Tish Hyman really not letting this go. By the way, she's a singer, she's lesbian, and I feel like she's taken everything about her art and made her new mission on this.
I know, and she sings that lovely song. I didn't even know who she was the first time we reported on it, and it's so happy and it's, like, peaceful. So this really shocks and surprises me because I think she's a whack job, and I think this is coming from a place where of, like, hatred, because I do think she's transphobic. I really honestly do. So I'm more on the side of the trans person, but a broke clock is right twice a day, right? I do think that there's some validity in her claim about the locker room because I could see how it would be jarring if someone that identifies as female but has masculine attributes or presents more masculinely. I can see how that could be jarring for anybody that's in the locker room with them, especially other women and things of that nature. So, and also especially if that said cisgender female was like sexually assaulted by a man or anything, a lot can come up in that time. So I do see that there's a point, and I don't know what the answer is, but I do think that it's along the same lines as women, transgender women in sports. I do think that there needs to be guidelines so that everybody can be protected. So I think Tish, is it Tish or
Tish.
Trish? Tish, I think she's trash, and I think she's transphobic because who says anything that she said? But I, honestly, I hate to say that I think she has a point too.
Listen, I mean, it is no mistake to think that there are people within our own LGBTQ community that there's been an uprising that do not like the tea. They almost want to get rid of the tea. I am not one of them. I don't think you are one of them at
Yeah,
all. We talk
at all.
all proudly on this show. We have so many people on our show that have been of the trans community, but there are people that have actually tried to get rid of the tea. I also think that there are a lot of restaurants around the world that are really just embracing the non-gender restrooms in
Yep.
general. We're talking about this goes more into the sports category. Should trans women be in the sports arena? And I feel like it goes within that argument.
Yeah.
If you feel it's that one dicey area and people have been dealing with that, having certain just trans actual categories being added to the conversation.
Which I honestly
Um,
don't think is the answer personally, but
I don't
yeah, like I
either.
said, I don't know
That
the
one I'm a
answer.
little more I don't have the answers to. This one, I always felt like the locker room is get in, get out. We were talking about
Hmm.
in our meeting how in general, inevitably, if you're like if I go into the locker room when I worked out at thousands of gyms throughout the years, I got in, I got out. I really was had my blinders on because inevitably, if I was going to change or take a shower, there would be somebody that would need the locker right above me, next to me, and there's no
Always
room
has
in
a question.
there. And as her own words, said she likes to lather up with lotion and keep her body moisturized, and she spends a lot of time naked moisturizing in the locker room. Girl, do that at home. Nobody. I feel like I don't want to see that in the locker room. It's just too
Also,
much.
yeah, I hear you, and I think that I agree with you to a certain extent, and I think that th- there just has to be an a way to make all people comfortable. I was watching Hope Giselle because I do think this is an issue that I can't really answer because I'm neither a cisgender woman or a transgender woman. And she was recounting earlier in her transition when she would just completely try and be as incognito as possible, and how she felt so much shame about how the fact that she was just starting her transition and she was presenting more masculinely even though she knew she was a woman on the inside. And that just made my heart go out to her because I do think that, their gender identities are completely valid. So it must be hard for them to have to straddle the line between these two worlds. So, again, I don't know the answer. I hope that we as a society can get to a place where it doesn't matter and people can just kind of go anywhere. But I don't think we're there yet, unfortunately.
Adrian watching us live says, I work in a hospital and for our crisis management training. And when we talk about men and women of the LGBTQIA community that do not include the T, and I had to argue this for a while until it was
Wow.
changed. Yeah. See, it's a real thing
It's
right
really
now,
prevalent. Yeah, it's happening all over on all fronts, and we
especially
need to support our
currently.
trans sisters. Yeah,
Yeah. So
brothers and sisters,
it is. I mean,
non-binary folks.
I feel like when you hear Tish, she really feels like feels like she's being threatened in many
Yeah,
ways. I don't feel like these trans people are threatening her. She also is not acknowledging that they are trans women. And that's
that's
the
wild to
first
me.
problem, too. It's like, girl, get that straight. I don't know. She's not helping any cause,
And
but
also, and I kind of, I mean, I didn't want to bring this up, but like, how are you going to bring up domestic violence and of one trans person to encompass all trans people? Like, let's look at the transgressions of your subset and see what happens, and let's
yeah,
apply all of those to you as well. So that's not how life works. So yeah,
exactly. It's the same argument they're doing with ICE, and they're
girl,
the same thing. So it's this current climate that we're in. All right.
yeah,
Well, let us know how you weigh in on that. Moving on, Cheyenne Jackson. I hope you all know who he is because he's been around for
love
a
him.
long time. Previously tried to hide his gay voice, but now he's embracing it. He is currently in Oh Mary on Broadway with Jane Krakowski plays Mary Todd Lincoln, and Jackson plays her teacher. This is going to be good, right?
Yeah,
It won the Tony, and I love that the new iterations are bringing in big time names, which is really exciting. And over the weekend, Jackson was posting videos of himself just talking to his phone camera while he applied his makeup before he went on stage. And he looked really good because he's shirtless and he's a good
I
looking
mean,
man. In
I was
one,
distracted the
yeah,
first go round.
yeah, I met him earlier this year. I've met him several times, but he was in Xana. Was it Xanadont, which was a take on Xanadu? Or no, it was
Oh,
Xanadu actually. And he was in there, and he's already super tall. And I remember taking a picture with him in roller skates, so he was towering over me. This was
yeah.
years ago, but super cool. He's been in so many things. But I also met him earlier this year with Vakaya, and he couldn't be nicer. I loved his one man show. But in the video, he talks about masculinity and the gay voice. And he said he was rewatching his first video when he was in makeup, and he said, "Oh my God, I sound so gay." And when he watched the video, he thought, what's wrong with sounding gay, right? He says that if you're in the gay community, you're on the spectrum. This is really key. If
Yeah.
you're in the gay community, you're on the spectrum of gay voice. Everyone's on the spectrum. I think myself, I'm a moderate gay voice. I gesticulate a lot. My voice is very sing-songy, but for years I was afraid to come across as gay. He went on to tell a story years ago when he was in Altar Boys, and he watched a video back to him and he was like, "Hi, I'm Cheyenne Jackson." He would look really, and I can do that too, where
Yeah.
I've done that too. And he likens it to the fact that at that time he wasn't comfortable with his sexuality, and he almost took it as a compliment and a badge of honor if somebody said, "Wow, you're gay." And now that really creeps him out because he actually is more comfortable in his self, as we say all the time, as you get older. And his current, I think it's his husband, correct? He's married, I
Oh,
believe.
yes. I think his
Yeah,
name is Jason.
who he says is very out there, very gay voiced, and he loves that. That's what turns him on so much. So, what do you think about the gay spectrum, that we all have a little bit of gay voice?
Oh.
I think we all do. I know I definitely do,
Oh, I definitely
100%.
do.
Yeah,
Some
oh,
of
yeah,
us
I definitely do, and it can come in depending on like, I was just working with Vakaya, and we were like, "Girl, cis," everybody was
Yeah.
cis, and
We It comes
yeah,
out like an accent. Basically, if you're in that group or that area, then it's gonna be more up front, and if you are I feel like if I'm in more of a straight surrounding, then I speak more in a deep baritone voice. But, I mean,
and
I
if
know
I'm
I
with
have a gay
my
voice.
ethnic brothers and sisters, I might say things like "child," and then I pull it all in, and
Yeah,
all of a sudden, I'm
if
a
I'm in the hood.
a blue black woman that
I'm like, "What's up, bro? What's going on?"
I'm never that, but yeah.
I do. I
You
do it
could
all
do
the
that.
time.
Yeah,
I code
right.
switch all
What's
the
up,
time.
brothers? Yeah. But I
So,
don't
yeah,
think
but
I
then
do
I would
think
turn the
there's a
corner, I'm like, "Hey,
spectrum.
girl."
I do think some people don't have it though too. I
You think so?
mean,
I can see that.
yeah. I I don't think Diego has any gay voice
Well,
spectrum
he
at
has an
all.
accent, so
He has
it's
an
kind of I feel
accent,
like it's
but
hidden, so I wouldn't know. We need to go to Paraguay and ask all the Paraguayans
yeah, I'm looking at
if he
him,
has a
I'm
gay
wondering
voice.
what he's don't talk about me, he's saying right now. But yeah, I mean, I do think there's a spectrum of it all. And I like that he is being so open with it, embracing his partner. And it does come with age when you just ground yourself and you really become comfortable with who you are and you're not putting on a front anymore. And you're not trying to please everybody. And we are in a really good time right now that says you get to be you. And we have sides of ourselves. Like you said, sometimes we're going to be a little bit more out there, and other times we're going to be reined in a little bit. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of being gay. I mean, imagine if you were 100% straight all the time and you didn't have all this spectrum to play with, this palette, if you will.
Yeah, exactly, and as long as you're being authentic to yourself, I feel like then it's perfectly fine. I feel like go do you. If you wanna if you're feeling a little bit more butch one day, then go do that. If you're feeling a little bit more femme, do that too, and just be yourself. Uh, yeah, as comfortable as you wanna be.
Moving on to the tale of
Oh, wait,
Sniffies.
are we gonna do the poll for the gay voice?
Oh, yes, please read that to our lovely audience.
So the next poll that we have is gay voice a thing? And the two options are yes, and I've got one. And the other option is no, all voices are valid.
Love it. Let us know how you weigh in on that. It will also be on our Tags Patreon community. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast, where the polls continue all week, and we'll read them at the end of it and see where you guys weigh in because I love this stuff. Moving on to the tale of the Sniffies Bush appreciator had the gaze in a tailspin. There is a gay by the name of MARC TXT that was telling a story of how he went on Sniffies and early on and was really surprised, almost like our Craigslist story, Kodi, where in the early days of Sniffies for free you could post where you wanted to meet somebody, what you were looking for, what you in this case he posted that he had some dirty underwear, that used underwear,
Oh,
I should probably say,
no,
that
they were dirty.
okay, they were dirty, and he was gonna put them up, and he said he was gonna put them up for sale. Well, he got a lot of people messaging him that wanted them, including one person that he proceeds to tell on a TikTok that not only paid for it, but then said one from Vegas and one from Orange County, and they were prepared to offer big bucks as Mark soiled dainties to everyone's delight. Mark sends his words to the happy customers, and it seems like at the end of the story, the Vegas buyer found himself in LA where Mark lives and tried to hit him up on Sniffies. Quote, he was staying at the Camille in Beverly Hills, but prior to his meeting, he was very adamant on if I had a bush. So he wanted to know if Mark had a bush. Mark states that he was indeed rocking a bush at the time, which was great news for Mr. Vegas. He ended up meeting him at the hotel. I go up to his room, and honestly, the vibe was amazing. They take things to the bathroom where Mark's stripped down. He's admiring my bush. He's on his knees, not even giving him head. At this point, it was getting a little out of Mark's comfort zone because the guy was just admiring his bush. That's all he was doing. And he asked, can I shave you? Mark was feeling odd about this, but went with the flow and let the man shave him. The guy finishes shaving and did a really good job. And the next thing you know, Mark, he's back in the room with a mason jar. The guy's with a mason jar, picking up every last strand of hair. And this is
Yeah.
where Mark was kind of freaking out on his video, going like, "This is just too much." He was picking up every pube. he says, I hope you don't mind, but I just like to collect pubes. And that's where Mark was like, oh my God, am I missing something? But $800 later is what he made for this. What do you think of Mark's story? And yes, there's a kink for everything. I don't know that I would be that surprised about this.
Yeah, I think I need a trip to Vegas because so I can find this man. $800. That is amazing. And I kind of
You
want to
should
see the
have doubled that
collection.
price because
I
Vegas Mister was looked like he, was ready to pocket it, spend some more.
Oh, hello. Yes. And you know what? Maybe he could have got me a hotel room. Maybe there's a lot of things that I can do with $800 and and all I have to give up is my bush. I'm good to go. Let's go. Sign me up. I'm ready. So I'm
Yeah.
here for it. And he got a good story out of it, right? It's viral on TikTok. So yeah, he
Yeah,
made
I
out pretty good.
mean, I think, you know, if you watch this video, I'll post this on textpodcast.com, reference episode 713. Are we on? I think we are.
Okay.
That he does get a little creeped out by ooh, this is weird, this is creepy. And you just have to know that there is a kink for every little desire, every little thing. I mean, there's a kink for like, a certain tone of skin or the way the skin some people I just ran into a guy in Vakaya that he just has a thing for biceps,
Uh,
and it's like just the simple act of a bicep is worshiping that. That's all that gets him up. So if you're gonna go there, try not to make somebody feel awkward about their particular individual kink, and
oh no, the skin
especially if they're
thing.
making money.
The skin thing, that is either they want to wear it or they want to fetishize it. So I'm okay on that one. They can miss me with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's no stranger on the show that I have a foot fetish, and I love
Yeah.
certain. I love my husband's feet, but I used to pull people into the New York Eagle, into the dirty bathrooms, and make them take their shoes off if I like them, and they would
Have you
do
done
it,
this?
Cody. Yes,
I
and
love
I would like
it.
smell and sniff their feet, and in the dirty bathroom of the Eagle. I can't believe I just mentioned that, but they would do it.
Oh, we've all done some dirty things in those
Yeah, but
bathrooms.
as Doug
I know I
said,
have.
$800 is 800 after all. Yeah,
Hello.
exactly. So come on now. Okay, I think we have should we get
I really want I really wanted to get to those two
let's get to
stories.
those. Yeah. So we
Uh,
love giving advice on this show. Pick the one you want to do, and why don't you read it and we'll discuss.
okay. Are you let's do want to meet this Dom guy nearby, but some hangups prevent me from doing it. So over the weekend, this guy has been texting this Dom guy he met on an app. He finds him attractive. The guy seems nice, and when our texting became a bit too spicy, I got so excited to potentially meet that I legit was shaking. That person was shaking. So that makes him think that he wants to meet him. However, I can't help but think that I am to some degree disrespecting myself by putting myself in an uncomfortable, risky situation that I may not even enjoy. It's his first time with the Dom. And B, I'm trying to find a boyfriend. It feels really out of character to switch from cafe dates with boring gays like himself to letting someone. He puts duck, but I think he means fuck his face. So he wants some advice and opinions on more experienced Dom sub situations.
It's interesting on this one because years ago, I invited a guy that I met at the New York Eagle that said he was a Dom, and I was getting into the BDSM culture at that time. And will never forget that I didn't really do enough, say, investigation to see how it would go. And when
Mhm.
I invited him to my apartment, which maybe was a mistake because when I got down, he was already starting to smack me around.
Oh my
And
goodness, that might
yeah,
be too
and it was
much.
just going from 0 to 100, and I was on a novice. It was my early years of exploring BDSM culture. I ultimately entered the New York Eagle and got a lot more experience, and especially on how I would handle bringing somebody into my environment and what I want in terms of safe words and learning all that. So I will say I hear this person, and you do have to navigate where you're at with it and
Yeah.
express and communicate where you're at with it and develop safe words, and maybe don't put yourself in a compromising situation too. So I feel the person, and that's my advice on that. Just, you know, develop all that early on, make those negotiations early on before you head home. And if he's a true Dom, he'll understand that.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, just jump into it, and if you don't like something, let the person know, but you just said that smack story. And let me tell you, if
Mm.
I walked in some place and somebody smacked me, we would be fighting. So I agree with you. It's best to get these things out in the open first before you even go over there. Ask what it entails, what it would look like when you go over there to the dom, and what it feels, what it what to expect basically from being in a dom sub situation. So I completely agree with you. Get clear on what it is before you go over there, and definitely set up some safe words and guidelines. So yeah. But enjoy yourself at the end of the day. Don't worry about these boring gays out here. Nobody,
Yeah, it's
you'll
a
find your
real
boyfriend when you
world.
find a boyfriend.
You know, and I love his question too, because it's a real world out there of BDSM, and there are protocol and things that you can explore that keep you safe but enjoyable. And you can do it on a novice level, intermediate to advanced, but you need to know some of these things too. And there are groups out there that you can look into to explore some of this stuff, so that when you are confronted with something like this, that it can be an enjoyable experience. You'll have the tools to have an enjoyable experience. Doug says, if your gut is telling you it doesn't feel right, maybe don't do it. And in this climate, I haven't said that in a while, I agree with that as well. So stick with that as well. Was there one more that we could do before we moved on to? I'm going to put our thirst trap in there for people
Oh,
to vote.
remember we touched on the early 30 ones
Yeah.
before? You want me to read it?
Sure.
If you could go back in time to your early 30s, what would you prioritize to work on as you got older? I guess this is for people that are 40 plus, I guess. What would you work towards? A stable partnership, financial security, your career, hobbies, adventures, family time, mental wellness. I feel like I achieved most things that I wanted to achieve in my early 20s. The next steps are not so clear for me now. Looking for inspiration from older and wiser gays.
You
What do you
know,
think, Steve?
I think that it's easy to go back and I don't want to ever say I should have done this, I should have done that, because I am where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I never want to beat myself up for I'm happy with, in terms of finding a partner, relationship, husband. I took a little bit longer. I'm 54 and met my husband, but I needed, as I said on the last show, to sow a lot more wild oats, and I'm more ready now. In terms of my career, I've always chosen a different path, and I'm here now. I love what I do, and I'm not a major billionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not none of those things, but that's okay. I don't, I'm happy with all those choices. What I would tell myself would have to go back to our early conversation of the slutty, ethical slut, all of that is don't beat yourself up over this stuff. And there will be a cure, or not a cure, there will be tools to help you really live your sluttiness, like PrEP and Doxypep, and don't beat yourself up for exploring your sexual freedom like I always was. And what is everybody going to think? And there will be a time that you will be really confident about who you are, and you'll have a show and you'll put yourself out there.
Love it. Love it. And I mean, I said the same thing earlier, basically, live in your truth as far as sexuality is concerned. But I think for this point in time, for me personally, and this question, I think that I am going to go with, and I've said this on the show before. I'm like, don't live in fear. Don't, if you know where your purpose is and you've discovered this, maybe in your 20s, you did some self investigation and things of that nature. And for me personally, I played my what I know in my heart to be my reason to be on this earth. I played it like a side quest, basically. That's nerd speak.
I love that.
I played it like a side quest, and I thought that what my main quest would be something that would be lucrative to me, and I'm here and I'm finally fulfilling, I'm playing my what my destiny is supposed to be as my main quest, but I lived in so much fear of not being able to do it, and now I'm here trying to make things happen. So yeah, just don't live in fear and play your goals in life as your main quest.
That's beautiful. Really
Oh, thank
beautiful and well
you. I should put it in
stated.
a song, girl.
You should. I mean, but the EP is locked up and
Hey, hey,
Doug watching us live says, I think I would tell myself, don't care so much what other people think of you and just be yourself. And I love that because I used to let people do that all the time. I
yeah.
also would tell myself, let go of relationships that don't serve you, friendships and all,
Mm.
which I've done, but be open to people changing too. A recent example was my wedding where I invited some people that I had a falling out with, but
Oh,
it was with one of the 2 in the couple. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. It just caused, and it kind of reverberated to my friendship group. There were people kind of took sides and was, but I thought, you know what? It's time heals all wounds, and
yeah,
I am letting this go because I do not want this going into my new generation with
yeah.
my marriage. And I invited them to the wedding, and lo and behold, they came, and it was
Oh,
beautiful.
I
Yeah, it
love
was love.
that.
Yeah, and I also had some other people reach out that I don't talk to anymore that really wanted to tell me they were so happy for me, and I accepted their we're not gonna be what we were, and
Yeah.
that's fine the way we were, Barbara Streisand, but,
Oh,
I
by
mean,
Barbra Streisand.
yeah, but letting go, be willing to let go is something, and yeah, if you ever wanna listen to a show that we talk a lot about this stuff is Of a Certain Age, that it was
Yeah.
a passion project that Kodi and I did a couple years ago, and you can still find it wherever you get your podcast, but we dive deeper into these more maturity, aging, how we feel about all this. It's called Of a Certain Age. Check it out. We did one season, but it was a lot of fun, and we'll continue to do it on this show too. We'll inflect it with the
Yeah.
sexuality discussion. But right now, we have to talk about our favorite topic: straight up gay porn's thirst trap. Asking the question, which one of these 12 gay porn stars took the best photo of the week? This was a really interesting one for me because there was a couple of them. I recently worked on Vakaya, and Rocky Unleashed is one of the people that's on there. And I did some photography with him where I simulated fucking him, and it was
Oh,
totally professional and all of that, but he was so easy to work with. He is a beautiful specimen of a
gorgeous.
man, but interestingly, I didn't pick him. The one I picked that I think my husband might like is Zam at the end, Zam. And the reason I picked him is he's hot. He's got a really cool haircut, a great goatee, some great tats. I love his chest. He's looking, and his balls and dick are like really thick and juicy, but he's says he's from Paraguay. He's a content creator
Oh.
from Paraguay, and he is number 2 right now, and he gets my vote. Who do you pick? Who do you pick, Diego? Put it in the chat.
Well, I first of all, shout out to Patrick McDonald because he's looking like a snack. But I didn't pick him because he's got too much going on in the background of his. You know how I am. I'm a crazy person.
Yes.
So, but I did pick Rocky Unleashed because his picture is gorgeous and he's looking
Yeah.
gorgeous
And I
in
can
it.
tell you in
He,
person, he's equally but he's
yeah,
super nice and really cool in person and
he seems
professional
like
and
it.
all those good
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah.
I definitely can't wait to meet him myself. Maybe we could not simulate, but but yeah, in the picture he's completely butt naked, taking a mirror selfie in a bathroom. He's got beautiful little pictures in the background, and yeah,
I surprised
that
myself because
bunch of
in
dicks. Oh
this
my god.
simulation that I was doing, it was the camera was over other content creators as if they were looking at us. So we had a
Okay,
total audience of content creators, and I had to like simulate this, but I'm really good with that kind of direction,
she's an
and I got
actor,
into
darling.
it. I'm an actor. Diego says Bronson Chase. He didn't go for Paraguay. Okay,
Oh,
interesting.
Bronson.
Doug says Nick Floyd. We'll post this also on tagspodcast.com, also on our Tags Patreon community. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. You can follow my co. This has been so much fun. You can follow
So
my
much fun.
co host, Kodi on Blue Sky and Instagram, the same handle at Mr. Maurice. Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am underscore Stevie. Take our poll because it continues over on
Yeah.
Tag's Patreon community. Thanks, live virtual audience. And in the meantime, continue having
Hot
yay
gay
sex. Bella
sex.
says
Hi,
bye.
Bella.
Bye, Bella. Bye. Lovely.